Would your
And the
plan to be
environmental-
replace that with nuclear? What would you do?
Well, nuclear is better. I mean, I think there's a little danger in nuclear, but, we had some really bad nuclear. They did one in Alabama. They did one in, I think, South Carolina. They do them wrong. They build these massive things. Then the environmentalists get in. I don't want to go into a long story because it's too long for the show. This show is too valuable to talk about concrete. But they have hardened concrete. It's number 12 concrete. It's harder than steel. It's incredible. They put up a wall, and an inspector comes along and goes, nope, you're a quarter of an inch. The wall might be 8 feet wide. You're a quarter of an inch too short. I'm sorry. You got to rip down the wall. Because it's got to be poured contiguously, right? You're 1/4 of an inch. I'm sorry. Rip down. You can't rip it down. This stuff you can't put a hammer through it. You can't. It's incredible. Concrete technology is unbelievable. What's happened? You think of concrete.
So you think that's an example of overregulation?
Yeah,
pointless overregulation.
You have an inspector that comes along and he says, take down a $25 zillion wall. These things ended up costing $25 billion. And one of them never got opened. But here's the story. So France does it. France is largely nuclear. And they build small, little, compact plants. And if they need more, they build the same thing and they hook it up. And they hook it up because they get too big and too complex and too expensive. And it is very clean. They say it's absolutely, my uncle, I had a great uncle who was a great genius, just like other members of my family. But he was a professor at MIT for, I think, 41 years. He was the longest. When I was in the White House, the head of MIT, Princeton, and Harvard came down to meet me. And the MIT person said, I have a book on your uncle, Dr. John Trump. He was our longest serving professor. He was a great genius, sir. Do you know how? And he knew everything about nuclear, from math to chemistry to nuclear. He knew it. And he said, someday it's going to be the way to go, but the problem is it's so dangerous in terms of war. He said, right. Donald, someday, and this was a long time, Uncle John, Dr. John Trump, he said, someday you'll have a little satchel at your side and you'll go into a building and you'll be able to blow up New York City. I said, Uncle John, that'll never happen. He's right. He's right.
Well, that was
the
part
power
of the problem
is so crazy.